How do you do, my fellow nerds? Welcome. This channel will mainly focus on movies, TV shows, and maybe some video games. Basically, some of the stuff I'm well cultured in, primarily Star Wars. Uh, I've been a Star Wars fan for quite some time now, decades even, and I haven't been too happy with what's been happening to my favorite IP since Disney took over. I mean, it's been disastrous seeing how badly they've treated this world without any care and without any love put into it. With exception to Andor, every movie and every show has been quite painful to get through. And so I started watching The Acolyte, and oh boy, I guess you could say I've been inspired to make this video. Give you my thoughts. I mean, inspired, probably not the right word, but you get what I mean. I've been wanting to review a Star Wars project since TLJ, but I always found other creators that pretty much summed up how I felt about that movie better than I could, at least at the time. With the little time I have, it's been difficult to review the mini project since that movie came out. But I think I can make the time to go through this catastrophe. With all that out of the way, let's talk about Star Wars The Acolyte, Episode 1. We start off the episode with floating words in space informing us that this series takes place 100 years before the rise of the Empire, in a time of peace where the Jedi Order and the Galactic Republic have prospered for centuries without war. But in the far reaches of space, or whatever, some learn to use the Force in secret, one being an assassin who risks being discovered to seek revenge. It's an interesting premise. We'll see where we go with that, right? We pan over to planet Euda, where a character arrives to a small town looking for a local Jedi. I guess everyone knows that there's a Jedi that resides there most of the time. Beats me. On a side note, anyone else notice that all these small towns in Star Wars look exactly the same? I mean, this looks similar to a town in Mandalorian, also Ahsoka, and also Book of Boba Fett. And I'm pretty sure Obi-Wan as well. I mean, for God's sakes, can we get some cities or like anything else cleaner looking, if anything? Anyway, the assassin enters the bar and demands Master Indara attack her with all her strength. It was like the most awkward pose I've ever seen in any media. The rest of the table laughs at her, rightfully so. I guess this was the writer's attempt at introducing a badass character. They did a poor job at it so far. Indara, unimpressed and unenthused, denies her ridiculous request and states Jedi do not attack the unarmed. The assassin then proceeds to attack the aliens at the table in order to get Indara to attack her. I mean, Indara should have interfered as soon as the assassin attacked the first one, but I guess this isn't a good Jedi? Don't know. We'll see, I guess. Indara then intervenes after like the 80th person is severely fucked up, where they then have a somewhat not too bad but not too good choreographed fight. During this tussle, the assassin tries to get the lightsaber hanging off of Indara's belt a couple times but fails to do so. The fight comes to a halt due to Indara having the upper hand, pulls her mask down, and she instantly recognizes her. The assassin then throws a knife at the bar owner, but Indara stops it mid-air. She's distracted long enough for the assassin to throw a knife at the Jedi Master's heart, killing her. A few thoughts. This was an extremely lame way to kill a Jedi Master. Very cheap. Second, is anyone else tired of Disney Star Wars making lightsabers pretty much useless? I mean, a fucking small knife can kill like anyone. But a fucking lightsaber through the abdomen can only mildly inconvenience you. And here's the thing, I don't really want to hear anybody talk about how lightsabers in those cases missed vital organs or some dumb shit. A lightsaber can kill a Jedi Master in the prequels, right? The Clone Wars and other media that came out back then. But in the newer Disney shows and movies and even video games, you'll be alright as long as you get in a bacta temp or in a hospital in time. On another note, anybody else notice how thick these lightsabers are in this series? We then see the assassin walk away from the Jedi Master's corpse and the lightsaber that she was trying to take from the Jedi Master's belt during the fight. She's just gonna leave it behind, I guess. As she's about to kill a bar owner, she stops herself at the sight of this kid behind him. I'm guessing this is the writer's way of trying to show us that she has some compassion. I mean, if that was their goal, they probably shouldn't have started off by her attacking so many innocent bar patrons. But what do I know, right? We see the assassin wake up from some nightmare near what I can only assume is another toy product placement for yet another cute droid companion. We quickly find out that she's a mechanic named Osha on a Trade Federation ship. The Namodians need their shields repaired, but is quickly stated that they never use them. It's never properly explained, but the Namodians all of a sudden need it repaired in a hurry, even though they never use it. Incompetence on the Namodians' part leads to the mechanics listening to how they are disposable, but the cargo is not. Are we led to believe that they're carrying something illegal? Is that why they need their ships repaired and working properly all of a sudden? Do they do this regularly, or is this their first time? If they do it regularly, why not have a shield working properly already? Guess we'll never know. There's some witty remarks from Osha to the Nemodians. As they work on fixing the issue at hand, they cause the pressure valve to cause a small explosion, which then catches on fire. Now, this is a critique we've all seen all over the internet, so it's not going to be anything new from me. I mean, the fire looks like a goddamn campfire. There's even gusts of wind moving like so. I mean, in the vacuum of space, you'd think, right? It wouldn't be like this. I mean, all you need to make this scene more ridiculous and parody-like is you have mechanics sit next to it and start roasting marshmallows. The defense that there's been explosions and fires in Star Wars before has no valid arguable case. The explosions we've seen throughout all of Star Wars has always extinguished immediately in the vacuum of space, because there's no oxygen. The fires we've seen always look like they're coming out of a blowtorch or flamethrower, or they just vanish because they can't exist. The fire legitimately looks like a fucking campfire with wind. Let's not forget that a lot of those fires were done with practical effects in the 70s. It looked way better than something done by this project. But let's move on. We see Osha stare into the fire for an unimaginative light exposition scene. We can hear something traumatic happen to her, informing the audience that this character has seen some shit. We are then introduced to one Jedi Knight, Yord Fandar, and Padawan Tasi Loa, who are in search of Osha. This is how we informed she was a former Jedi who's now a mechanic who does freeland and outer ship repair, jumping from ship to ship. We also learned that the Republic has passed legislation stating that only droids are to do outer ship repair. Okay, so this leads me to ask quite a few questions actually. Like, what are exactly are mechanics? Do mechanics only do outer ship repair? Are mechanics only supposed to be droids? If mechanics are only outer ship repair, how come humans are still registered in the Republic as mechanics? Are the Namodians breaking the law by having human mechanics? none of these questions are properly answered. But we also learned that OSHA bunks from ship to ship. Are all those other ships breaking the laws? If those droids can perform mechanic jobs, why not just have droids instead of paying human mechanics? Are droids more expensive than human labor? Honestly, there's so many questions that come to mind just by that statement alone. I'm not sure that any of them would be answered in this show. I mean, I guess it might be a nitpick, but so far, this part of the world building isn't good. Yord waits for Osha in her bunker and is a bit jumpy when she puts her droid to charge. Osha is informed that Master Indara was murdered last night. I mean, that was quite some fast detective work. Indara was murdered last night, and in less than 24 hours, they found your murderer. Okay, so a thought. Is Osha the only person in this galaxy that fits the precise description? Are there no cameras in this whole, in that whole town that would help identifying her to make it more believable? You mean to tell me that the witness described Osha, and she's the only creature in this universe who fits that description? And even if the witness describes her using the Force, there's alibi that she was in the ship, right? I mean, how would she leave? Wouldn't there be registered fighters and ships that would leave the Trade Federation ships anyways? Look at Andor. There was 2 murdered Imperial officers, and even that took some time to investigate, even with all the witnesses, the technology on their side. Moving on. The Padawan proceeds to ask some personal questions. These questions seem more to inform us about her past, informing the audience that she was 8 years old when she was brought to the Jedi Order. I mean, these questions have answers that they should already know, right? The Jedi Order should know this. It seems like a clumsy, lazy way for exposition. So after some questioning, the Padawan Tazi brings in the only living witness to identify her.
What the fuck?
Okay, let's say that Osha is the assassin. What makes him think that bringing the only living witness was a smart idea? If she is the assassin who killed a Jedi Master, what's to stop her from killing the Knight, the Padawan, and the only witness? Seriously? We then get an overhead shot of Coruscant, which, if you look at it closely, for some reason it looks less real than the prequel trilogy. I mean, odd. A Jedi Master is training some younglings to use the Force for visions of the future or some shit. Master Venestra enters the room using the Force to open automatic doors. It was kind of awkward seeing a Jedi Master open automatic doors. That's like me trying to use the Force to open elevators doors as a kid. Come on, we all did it. She informs Master Soul that Master Indara's killer has been caught, and it turns out to be Osha, Master Soul's old Padawan. He is reluctant to believe it and then proceeds to give more exposition about Osha's and her past. Honestly, there has to be a better way of expositing this to the audience, right? Like, other than, remember when you did this, remember when you did that thing, remember when that thing happened to us. Nevertheless, we are informed that Osha trained as a Jedi for 10 years and that she left the Order 6 years ago. We cut to the prison transport headed to Coruscant in hyperspace with Osha in a prison cell. Might I add, the prison transport with no guards and no pilots other than droids.
What the fuck did you just say?
I'm sorry, but why on earth would you put a Jedi killer who can use the Force in a transport with other prisoners, no guards, no pilots, and just one beefed up C-3PO droid? Seriously, are the Jedi in the Republic that incompetent? Why didn't the Jedi bring the Jedi Master Assassin with them? The suspected assassin, might I add. That makes no sense, and of course, the prisoners plan an escape which they ask Osha to be a part of, but she declines because to her, she has faith in the Jedi, or so she says. One of the prisoners can use his own technology to turn off the pilot droids, which then takes them out of hyperspace, causing the ship to hit a few asteroids, which then causes the ship to lose control and crash onto the planet. But before that, the prisoners escape, leaving Osha in her cell. Luckily, she uses her droid toolkit thingy to escape. She helps the most dangerous prisoner by removing his face hugger. Dangerous prisoner then betrays her and fucks right off into a escape pod. She runs over to the door but is locked and squeals in anger or some shit. Okay, but the problem is we get an exterior shot of the ship and you can see there are 2 more escape pods on the other side. She should be fine, right? Nah. She then goes into the bridge and braces herself for a crash. We cut back to Master Soul reminiscing about his Padawan Osha. Padawan Jackie comes in to bring word that Soul is requested by Master Venestra in the detainment level. We then see all the prisoners from the prison ship have been caught. Master Soul uses his Jedi mind trick to calm the mind of the most dangerous prisoner to ask him about what happened on the ship. I wonder if this Jedi mind trick might come in handy in the future. Soul requests to bring in Osha in himself, and Venestra reluctantly agrees if it's with a small team to catch the Jedi Master assassin. I hope it's Jedi Masters with experience.
Hell no!
Soul and Jackie are preparing to leave. As they enter their ship, Yord is steaming his Jedi robes for some bizarre reason. Okay, but why the hell is he not ready before getting on the ship? Is this their way of saying he's a bumbling idiot? So then why promote him to Jedi Knight? And where is his Padawan? We're taking somebody else's Padawan but not Yord's? Really odd. Also, is Soul just going to take a Jedi Knight and a Padawan to catch the suspected Jedi Master assassin? Seems a bit idiotic and irresponsible on Master Soul's part, if you ask me. Yord then apologizes for not bringing in Osha in himself, which, yes, it's his fault. I mean, earlier we heard Venestra talk to Soul about keeping it under wraps from the public, not to be aware, but she's brought in for questioning in a prison transport? Wouldn't that be public information? Anyways, Jackie tells Yord to get dressed in a snarky way, which is another odd scene. I mean, why would a Padawan tell a Jedi Knight what to do? Is there no hierarchy here? We then see Yosha is having a vision chasing a small figure through the snow. She catches up and, oh my god, we learn that she has a twin sister. They recite some poem or some shit when they were 8 years old, and Osha learns that May is the one that killed Master Indara. Would it be a shocker if the trailers hadn't given it away? Way to ruin your own murder mystery, Disney. Soul and Jackie converse about Osha being Soul's Padawan. We learn that he was there when her sister May started the fire that killed her entire family, which then leads to Jackie and Yord to learn that Osha and May had a twin sister who is dead, or according to Soul, she's dead. He watched her die, which is curious. Why wouldn't the Jedi have records of that? I guess we'll find out in the future episodes what they were hiding. They arrive on the planet and Osha flees when she sees the Jedi ship about to land. Strange. Didn't she say earlier she had faith in the Jedi? Why would she run away? It only makes her look guilty from an outsider's perspective. Soul, Yord, and Jackie arrive inside the ship to find that she's not there. Osha runs into a cave and the Jedi are right behind her. As she gets to a cliff, Yord demands she step away. Here you can see Yord is more of by the book type of character and has a duty to perform. As the Jedi draw closer to Osha, she asks Soul to listen to her, and she didn't kill Indara. Okay, you could have done this inside the ship or inside the cave. If you have faith in the Jedi, why are you getting closer to the edge of the cliff and not closer to them? Predictably, she slips. Master Soul catches her with the Force and brings her back to safety. Osha states that May is alive and she is the one who killed Master Indara. Soul immediately believes her, which makes the conversation he had with Yord and Jackie earlier a bit redundant. Jackie goes to handcuff Osha, rightfully so, but Soul demands the two Jedi to stand down. This scene makes Soul a little bit incompetent. You never know if Osha is the Jedi Master Assassin, and you never know if she plotted with May. These are things that he should consider. Enter Darth Cringelord with one of the most ridiculous monologues I've ever heard in Star Wars.
The Jedi live in a dream they believe everyone shares. If you attack a Jedi with a weapon, you will fail.
Well, no. We saw she killed Jedi Master Indara with a fucking small blade. Unless you're trying to say the Jedi as a whole, which would we worded differently as the Jedi, not a Jedi.
Steel or laser are no threat to them.
Again, this is proven to be false. The Jedi are not impervious to laser and knives.
An Acolyte kills without a weapon.
Don't you think that was something to tell May before she killed a Master with a knife? I mean, it's too late now. And if she's not supposed to kill a Jedi with a weapon, why is she carrying knives around? Like I said, ridiculous monologue. We then see Darth Cringe ignite his lightsaber, posing for May when she's staring right at him. Why? This is on the same level as cringe as when Darth Maul ignites his lightsaber when he's talking to Kira over a projection. Why are you igniting your lightsaber when monologuing to the person you've obviously trained to be assassin and you trust? I mean, it's more of a nitpick, but it's fucking stupid.
Well, maybe it is stupid, but it's also dumb.
This was some of the worst dialogue I've ever heard. The story is severely uninteresting and predictable. Bad acting from a few actors here and there. It can be distracting. There's no real character to latch onto or like except maybe Soul, but even he's flawed to shit. Honestly, this fits right in with the most god-awful shows we've seen from Disney, except Andor, of course. The sets look cheap, the costumes look poorly made, the CGI looks worse than something you see in the prequel trilogy. You know, recently I found out this show cost $180 million to make. That's $22.5 million per episode. Think about that. That's more than it took to make Godzilla -1. And the CGI looks way better than this. Makes you think. We will see where this story goes, but overall it's not looking good. And I'm sure there was a lot more that I have missed. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like and subscribe if you so choose to. Till next time.